approaching the last 3 games? Is it like a new half, or are you looking at what have you done to pick up from there? And secondly, the status on Rajat and Josh Hazelwood, please.
Yeah, well, look, it was an unusual few days, I'm sure, for everybody. First and foremost, it's good that the conflict has come to an end. It certainly felt like a disruption for me personally, lots to sort out, and it was a busy few days. For many of our lads, actually, it was a well-earned rest. So quite a few of them enjoyed getting home, seeing family, even if it's just for a couple of days, and then coming back again. And actually, we were saying even yesterday, the boys came in with a lot of energy for their practice. So as far as the group are concerned, they're looking in a really, really good place. So, pretty pleased about that. In terms of some of those updates, I think you mentioned Rajat and Josh. Yeah, Rajat's going well. As you all know, he had an injury to his hand. He's been building up ever so slowly. For him personally, probably the disruption gave him a few more days just to get through some of that early healing and for the swelling to go down and for him to get used to picking up a bat again. He's practiced the last few days and he's going well. With Josh, as you'll probably be aware, he's our only player not here at the minute. He's recovering from his shoulder niggle that he had. He's doing that with Cricket Australia. Obviously, our medical team and their medical team have been liaising on what that detail looks like. And he's just taking that day by day and he's trying to improve his shoulder.
Like in the last few days, there have been a lot of chatter about which international player is going to be available for which game, for how many games. So how much of that is a factor for you in preparing for this match and also the matches ahead?
Yeah, so I'm sure all teams experience the same thing, that once your players had gone home and once the dates had been extended, that creates a bit of uncertainty. We spoke quite a lot with our overseas guys even before they went, and most of them were pretty adamant that they were keen to come back and finish the job off. We've had a good season so far. They want to come back and do that. The extending of the season presented some challenges, so I had to have a few conversations with some of the national team governing bodies. Obviously, we'll lose Jacob Bethel after a couple of games, and we'll lose Lungi Ngidi after a couple of games. So there's an obvious impact there. In time, we'll give a little bit of thought to those replacements, and we'll try and look who might be able to come in to shore up those positions. But, yeah, other than those couple of guys, nothing else was disrupted too much.
With Padikkal ruled out, is that a concern, considering you might not have a left-hander in the top order, if with Phil Salt, going well in the last couple of days, if he comes back and takes up where Jacob Bethel played, so is that something that sort of worries you, considering so much of the game goes with matchups? And
yeah, my own personal philosophy is I don't worry that much about right and left-hand combinations. I know different teams view that differently. I actually think that since we've had the impact player rule, and every team has 6 or 7 bowlers, it almost doesn't matter if you've got right and left hand. They just change the bowling combination. So I think in an 11 versus 11 lineup, sometimes having that left-hander in your batting order can mean that you can put one of their bowlers under pressure. I see that less as a thing now. We've seen so many times during this competition that a certain bowler type hasn't bowled their overs because there was a left-hander at the crease, and they just get through fine. So look, I don't focus on that too much. We're quite clear on our pattern of play and the things that we want to focus on. It's obviously advantageous to have some left-handers if you've got a short boundary one side or something like that, but it's not a huge area of concern for me.
Hi. Obviously, Kohli has announced his test retirement. Since coming back into the team, what has been the mood like in the team, how the players have reacted to it, and any conversations you have had with him?
Yeah, well, look, the first thing to say is Virat's just business as usual, as he always is. He doesn't really, there's enough of the public and the nation's attention on him. He doesn't want any more of that. He just wants to get on with his business. He's hugely ambitious about what we can achieve this year with RCB, and that's his focus. I would like to say, though, that he should be incredibly proud of what he's done as a test player for India. RCB as a franchise, we are all incredibly proud of what every one of our players does in an Indian shirt, but in particular him. To play 120-plus test matches and to score nearly 10,000 runs is, no mean feat. Also, as a captain, his record, 60% win percentage or something like that as captain. Again, no mean feat. I can also talk from my previous role as an Englishman working in the English system. He was someone you never wanted to play against. He was always the batter you wanted to get out. You knew that if he was either in the pavilion to come or at the crease, that you were in trouble. And some of my most fondest memories watching Test cricket involve him. I'll never forget the 2018 India series in England, the Test at Edgbaston, watching Jimmy Anderson and him do battle like two gladiators. I think Jimmy must have bowled 9 overs on the trot at him, and it was the two of the best players in the world doing their thing. So that's what he's about. He's about the special moments, those inspiring moments, and he did that as captain, as a player. We're all really proud of him. I'm sure the fans will show him lots of love this week when they see him again. But just to go back to where I started, he's business as usual. We all are. He's spoken to a few of us about things in the last few weeks, but yeah, you know what he's like. He's pretty clear-minded, so he's clear on what he wants to do.
Yeah, you touched upon Hazelwood's fitness and also mentioned that NGD might not be there after 2 games. So in the event both are not available, have you looked that far, and do you have the bowling areas covered?
Yeah, we've obviously got Nuwan Tushara in the squad. International bowler, chomping at the bit. Understandably, probably frustrated that he can't get on the field, but I think that's when you're going well, these things happen. Also, Rasik Dar, good bowler. We really rate Rasik as well. So we've got options in the squad, so certainly no concerns. Over the next few days, we'll think about potential replacements as well. There's a bit of clamour for that at the minute, and lots of teams are doing that. I prefer not to rush these things, so we'll just take our time and have a think about it. But we've got enough quality in the changing room already.
More, there's been considerable chatter among the fans that they'll like to pay tribute to Virat, the Test cricketer, by turning up in white jerseys at the ground. Will that create a bit of a disruption, especially when you have fielders trying to spot the ball? How do you prepare for if it were to happen like that?
It's not something we've thought about or talked about too much. I've certainly noticed that the fans have been talking about that a little bit, but I don't think it'll have much of an impact on our players.
Hi, Mo. There's a bit of weather around last couple of days in Bangalore. Does that come into...
A little bit of what, sorry?
There's a bit of weather around the last couple of days. Does that come into the planning when you're sort of discussing what needs to be done? Does the batting order or even the bowling structure change according to that?
Well, it certainly does influence maybe our preparation. We've deliberately practiced in the afternoon today because we were concerned about rain this evening. So those things you can control. When you get to game day, you can't control it. So actually, you want your players to feel as clear and relaxed as possible. You trust them to make decisions in the moment, regardless of what happens. We don't overthink any of those things, really. If the game's rain affected, it's rain affected. You know, it's not something any of us control. So we don't really think too much about that, but it might influence our preparation. Hopefully, you know, for the fans and for everybody, we get to play our game because all we want to do is play well and put on a bit of a show.